Coop.
I'll go first. Broadly speaking, I wanted to ask about the offense. You installed it. What did you feel about, from an evaluation perspective, how it went this season, and then also for next season? Are you feeling like the offense is what it is now, or is it depend on what the roster looks like in a couple months?
Yeah, it'll depend, on the roster, but there were definitive boosts in our scoring and ability, to put more points on the board. It was a big jump. It was a huge jump, from where we were last year, and there's opportunity to take it, to another level, obviously with efficiency, and most importantly, being able to do it against the better defenses in the league. Our offense, looked great against a lot of the teams, and then everybody's trying to figure out how do you score against the teams that are at the top of the conference and have, tested defenses. But I think we're able to do that better than where we were in the past. And we'll study. We'll dive into all of it and figure out where we can make some jumps in efficiency.
I know this is probably going to fall into finding something out on the last 2-minute report or something else useless, but when you saw that it should have been a flagrant 2, what was your reaction that the league said?
I'm not really thinking about that anymore. I said what I had to say about it. I didn't think that he needed to be penalized more moving forward. I don't think that would make sense. I don't think he's a dirty player. I just think at the moment, both things can be true. In that moment, it was a dirty play and it was a dangerous play. It should have been caught at that moment, but it wasn't. And then, you move on. And, really I'll be thinking about, the 4-point lead, going down the stretch of regulation. I'll be thinking about Kobe White's shot right in front of our bench for a while, this summer. That was a tough shot, even tougher when I watched it on film than it seemed live. And then our opportunity, to get a stop there at the end of OT. We had our opportunities regardless, and that was a really unfortunate incident that wasn't caught, wasn't penalized in the moment, but that did not affect our opportunity at the end of the game, to close that game out.
Bam and Kel'el had their bright spots together. It was a struggle early on. They got better as the year went on. How do you feel like that duo kind of evolved? And do you come out of this season maybe more comfortable playing them together because the growth of that partnership as the year went on?
I do. They were able to do it in more impactful games, down the stretch, the last 6 weeks of the season. And, you credit them for putting the time and the intention, to making it work, but also just more minutes, doing it in pressure games. Certainly both of them, took a jump, from where it was a year ago or even at the beginning of the season. Also their skill sets improved, the versatility improved. Kel'el's shooting really helps. And Bam's shooting, for sure, and his ability now in the offense to be able to, make plays off the catch. I think once they both got a little bit more comfortable with that, that helped. And then the understanding, if we play two bigs, it has to be dominant defensively and on the glass in particular. But you need that kind of versatility in this league now. You need to be able to play big. You also need to be able to play small. Teams are doing a little bit of everything, and the more boxes you can check and still be efficient, I think is important. As you're playing against the better teams.
Coach, what's the motivation like? Obviously, heading into this off season, where it's been a while since the Heat have missed the playoffs. I think the 2018-2019 season, and the motivation of not wanting to be in the play-in. What's that sort of?
Yeah, I mean we're going to be highly motivated. We don't like this feeling at all, being, off in the middle of April. I also think that you can't just discredit that or discard it and say, oh, how horrible that is that we made the playoffs 6 straight years and didn't win a championship. This is a hard business, and there aren't a lot of teams that can do that every year. And is that the ultimate goal? No, of course not. That's Captain Obvious stuff. But if you make the playoffs and you don't necessarily get, what you want out of it, what you want is more cracks at it, and you want more opportunities, to make a run. My first year as a head coach, we won 43 games, and we were the 5th seed. And we were the 10th seed this year with 43. And every team can say this after the season, and this will be my exercise, but I truly felt that there could have been 4 to 6 more wins on the table for us, and that did not happen. And that also could have changed, our context of how we felt about this team. But you are what your record is, and you are what happened, at the end, and we lost that game. It would have been a lot of fun, to win that game and be ready for Friday night and see if we can make a run. I had that feeling about this team. But we'll be motivated, moving forward. We'll all take some time off. The front office was already, they've already gone to work. But we're not going to want to spend too much time off, as a staff. We're going to work on our internal improvement, but we also want, we want to be better. We're highly motivated.
Erik, what was the final message to this particular team? Were there moments you guys did have those great moments, but what did you tell them as they all go to the off season?
Yeah, what you want to have at the end of every season is for it to end on a win, but that doesn't happen very often. And you still want to have something to take away from this season. I enjoyed the relationships. I enjoyed how this group tried to come together. Training camp felt like 6 weeks ago to me. It's amazing how fast these seasons go, and that's the message you try to implore during the season. That you have so few opportunities. You have less opportunities at getting to the playoffs and making a run than you think you do. And we weren't able to necessarily maximize what we felt our potential of this team could be, but there still were some good takeaways. The improvement of our young guys was significant. It wasn't all linear. It didn't all happen at the exact same time, but for the most part, our young guys got a lot better on down the line. There was significant improvement with Kel'el, as you saw his ability to compete in a meaningful game and produce, in the moments of truth. That's a big improvement from where we were last year when the season ended and doing this press conference. And his improvement certainly was not linear. There was a lot of ups and downs this year, but I appreciate his intention and every day trying to work at it and get better. And he still has a big off season ahead, to make that next jump, hopefully. But on down the line, Jaime had a great bounce back year. It shows his competitive character. He just went to work last summer and then came back and had such an impactful season for us. He was one of our most important players in terms of his ability to get into the paint and create things for us. I love the way he improved his passing as well. Pelle had a massive jump just in terms of being the ultimate glue guy in any lineup, but you can see how his offensive improvement came with confidence and the work behind the scenes. Cass surprised all of us. He's very mature for his years, but he's a diligent worker, and he is the nicest guy off the court, and he is an animal on the court. He's not trying to make any friends, in this league. That's where he's Goran-esque. The contrast of on the court between the lines and his personality off the court. I love that about him, and he'll have a great summer. But on down the line, KJ, love seeing him getting some minutes down the stretch because he's really improved, and he is a Heat guy. He has that kind of DNA in his blood as a competitor, and the work ethic that he improved dramatically. Our two-way guys improved. So that's a highlight of the season is the improvement, of all the young guys. If I haven't mentioned somebody, just ask me about them. I'll give you some more comments.
Spo, I asked this question kind of knowing the way you think, and you never concede to what this team can be. You never concede to other teams, but the separation has seemed to be that the last few years with other teams in the East. What do you think needs to happen moving forward to close that separation? Is it internal? Is there something from the outside? Is there something that needs to change to be able to compete again in the East?
Yeah, we'll figure that out, as we always do. And look, that is our objective. That's our mission in this building. We're going to get to work, this summer, and figure this all out. Even though, like I said, we've made the playoffs, we haven't done what we wanted to do in the playoffs, and then, not even getting in this year. I truly thought we had an opportunity to get in, and then, I felt like we could gain some momentum and become a different team, through those experiences, but it didn't happen, and so we're going to focus on how we can get better and get back into that discussion where it's not just a discussion, but where it's reality.
You mentioned the really strong bounce back season from Jaime. Kind of similar, Nico. How important is this offseason for him just to get healthy and to get a fresh kind of start mentally, physically, and try to work on his game?
Yeah, I think that's a great parallel, a great comparison, for Nico. Because as frustrated as he seemed this year, and he felt like, just had a string of bad luck, that's exactly what was happening to Jaime last year. I mean, every couple of weeks, Jaime was dealing with something that was, putting him out of the rotation, in terms of injuries, the stomach issues that he had. And then by the time he came back, he hadn't had enough games, that he was totally out of rhythm, and then, lost some confidence. That was Jaime, to a T. That was his season last year. And then, Jaime, to his credit, did not make an excuse for anything. He just took it all on his shoulders, and he just said, I need to be better. I'm going to work on getting healthy, getting my body right, first and foremost. And then I'm going to work on the specific skill set that I need, that will help this team. So he came in great shape, and it wasn't just about his ability to attack. I think the system really helped unlock some things for him to be able to attack people off the dribble and touch the paint. But it was his intention to improve his passing, where he's not just crashing into people and, three defenders, blocking a shot. Now he became a much more efficient passer once he got in there, and his decision-making was so improved. But it was his intention just to go in and not blame anything, just get to work. And I think, that's, Nico's objective, this offseason, to not have a victim mindset about it, to not blame anything, just get to work and improve the things that he needs to improve. Take it on his shoulders, and he'll be just fine. His skill set and his size and all the things that he brings to the table, that's not lost on any of us. He just needs to get out there, take the responsibility, be ready for camp next year, and be ready to reach the potential, that he has as a basketball player. What he does fits.
Erik, how do you expect that a significant part of your summer will be thinking ahead to 27, 28?
That process will definitely start. Grant Hill and Sean and I have already talked about getting together, this summer a couple times, so for sure. I'm not thinking about that right now, but once I'm a little bit more idle, I'll dedicate a lot more time, to that.
Coach, was speaking of that pairing with Hero and Powell, was that sort of a tough one to crack, especially since the injuries, especially with Tyler missing 40-plus games and with the injuries and stuff like that? Was that sort of a tough one to crack this year?
It ended up becoming a challenge at the very end. I think we would have been able to do it. I think they would have been dynamic. And it's just unfortunate. There's things that you can't control or predict. When one was dealing with an injury, the other one was in the mix and playing well, and then it would just flip-flop. And it flip-flopped, a few times. But, we would have been able to make that work. And that would have really helped. But those are, just things that happen. And if I say anything right now, it'll just come across as an excuse. But if you miss, that many games, that Tyler missed, that's a big hit. Our offense was able to put up some points, but Tyler's a unique offensive talent. That definitely would have helped. You take your leading scorer off of your team for 40 games, that'll have an impact on any team, fighting in the East. And then, Norm played so well, before the All-Star break. He was playing great basketball. That's why that was earned, for him to be an All-Star this year. And then he started to go through his injuries and sickness after that, where he was never able to fully get in rhythm. Even though the last two games he looked a lot more like himself.
We're going to end it after this question, or else we're going to start to lose players, guys.
Spo, a lot of turmoil this season, and this may be obvious, but what was one of your favorite moments looking back on the season?
The beginning of the season, I felt like there was an energy, and a momentum, and we felt like we were catching teams, by surprise, and I thought we were going to build off that, and then we dealt with some adversity, and then it took us a long time to get back to the point before we won 7 games in a row again. But I enjoy all of it. I enjoy the struggle. I enjoy the ups and downs, and like I said, this was a great group to be around. Every day coming in to work, they had a good attitude and an intention to get better, even when we had all those frustrating moments. We're banging our head against the wall trying to figure it out together. But I commend the competitive character of this group. The airplane rides, the bus rides, it was fun. It's not fun losing. So we're going to figure out how to have a group like that and win and do it to a level of our standards. All right. Thank you. Appreciate everything, you guys, this year. All right. And we will see you soon. Okay.
Davion, obviously a disappointing ending to the season. Just what were some of the few things that maybe stuck out to you in terms of the negatives? Obviously the defense the last couple weeks maybe, but in your mind, what was it?
It's a good question. I would say that obviously the defense, but I just feel like a lot of games, I feel like we're up and we kind of just got relaxed and let teams go on runs and come back for them to show life. And sometimes they end up winning the game. Sometimes we do, but I think just a lot of times just not keeping our foot on the gas against a lot of teams that we should have.
Davion, because it was such a unique offensive system that Spo implemented this year, as the point guard, how did you navigate the new system, and how do you think it performed overall, not just increasing scoring, but increasing your efficiency against kind of the best defensive teams in the league?
Yeah, I mean, it make it tough for us to guard because you couldn't just scheme on just one player. You kind of had to scheme on everyone because we all had the opportunity to drive. We all had the opportunity to make a play. It wasn't just like give the ball to one person, let him come off a pick and roll and make a play. You can kind of scheme those things. Some nights people get hot, obviously, but I think that just everyone was a threat every time on the floor. No matter 1 through 5, you're just a threat. You just kind of have to be aggressive and be assertive about the things that you do. So he made I think with this offense has made it easier for everyone.
Having been in the league for a couple of years now, is there anything specifically that you felt that you grew on, that you improved on this year?
I think obviously coming out of college, I feel like I was always a point guard, and when I got thrown into Sacramento and having 2 point guards, kind of learning from them, I wasn't really the point guard on the team. I was kind of just a guy that was just give energy. That's how I didn't really get to play my position, but playing here, obviously this year, I got to kind of just be a point guard, get to kind of be a leader, get the team going, get our pace up, just kind of being that type of guy. And I think I learned that over the years of probably being in Sacramento, watching Tyrese, watching De'Aaron, obviously those guys.
Davion, you said after the game that, there was, besides working on keeping your bodies healthy, it was also about being more connected. What does that look like for you, depending obviously who's going to be here next season, but what does that mean to be more connected?
Yeah, I think being connected starts in the summer, especially just like I'm close with a lot of people in the league, with a lot of teams. On a lot of teams, I'm close with a lot of those people, and just hearing the things that they do together during the summer, they make it a point to spend time with one another instead of just seeing each other right before training camp. I don't think that's good enough. I think that throughout the whole summer you kind of get together, and it don't have to be just playing pickup, but just kind of just seeing each other's faces, kind of just building that chemistry, just to get ready for the season. So little things like that during the summer that I'm gonna try to get together.
Spo was just talking about the Bam and Kel'el pairing from last year compared to now and how much they've grown, just being around those two and the way you guys leaned into it later in the season. Just what is the biggest difference, I guess, with those two out on the floor that maybe you saw the difference from last year?
I think that their outside shooting, I think that helped us a lot. I think that over last year, some nights they'll hit, but some nights they kind of wouldn't have confidence in their shot, and it kind of a little bit messed up the spacing a little bit. Obviously, it's still good for offensive rebound, but they wasn't confident enough out when one person's in the paint, one person's out. So I think this year they was just a lot more confident, a lot more aggressive with just shooting the ball. It doesn't have to always be makes, but just to kind of be a threat out there and where people got to guard and people can't just sit the paint the whole time. So I think that's one thing they worked on really well.
Davion, you mentioned before the season you wanted to make all defense. Just how would you say you met your do you think you met the standard of that throughout the season? How would you evaluate that?
No, I don't think so. I think I feel like last year I was more disruptive than I was this year. I think a lot of times it also comes with the pace that we're playing at. I got to know. Going into the summer, I got to get more in shape because you can't play one of the fastest teams and also try to be a good defender if you're not in shape. It's just not going to work. So going into the summer, and that's how I know things I need to work on and kind of just get more in shape, kind of just be able to still be able to be a disruptive defensive player, but also be able to pick up the pace when it needs for offense.
Davion, you're one of the top assist to turnover guys this year and also the top pace team, the starting point guard. That's really tough to do. And so did your mental approach, do you change the way that you approached this season as it went on?
No, I don't think I did. For me, I just try to make the right play every time. I don't do well if I turn the ball over. I don't kind of put my head down and kind of just not be aggressive. I think that I said if I turn the ball over, I know what I need to work on. I know what I need to do next time. But for me, I just tried to make the right play. I think shout out to the coaches because they made the offense so easy for me to just to be myself that I didn't have to think too much. I can just go out there and just play.
Thanks, Davion.
Yep. Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you, guys.
obviously with the kind of the overall season for you, the first half was obviously very exciting, the All-Star nod, and then of course with the injuries and the illness, just overall, can you just kind of talk about your season and just how tumultuous, up and down it was?
I feel like it's a regular NBA season besides the All-Star and the birth of my baby girl. I think that was the greatest part of it. But every season you're going to have ups and downs and trying to figure out how to be available and whatever the situation is. It's tough, especially like post All-Star when playoff position and everything is so important. And then to be hit with a nagging injury, I'm still trying to play through it. I think that's the most frustrating thing when things outside of your control happen, and you just try to roll with the punches and figure it out. But I think I tried my best with the situations and stuff that I was in. It's definitely like frustrated to not finish a full complete year the way I was playing post All-Star.
Norm, I know we've pretty much asked you about this all year, but did you feel like you and Tyler ever really got a chance to figure it out together? And the minutes you did get together when Spo especially played you in the starting lineup, what did you see there in the chemistry between you two?
I don't think we got a full chance to be able to figure that out. I think obviously Tyler's injury, going into training camp makes it tough, especially implementing a new offense and being able to go through those 6 preseason games and fill it out and see how each other likes to play and different spots and things like that. And then bleeding into the season and trying to figure it out on the fly is always tough, trying to build that chemistry. You see that across the league with teams when they bring in new guys and trying to make it all work and fit. You need a full training camp. You need a certain amount of games to go through it, and figure out how to execute. I think we were able to do that. Injuries on both sides. He comes back and good. We get a few games and I get hurt. And vice versa, or other guys, end up with injury, and so it kind of prevents us to be fully healthy and to attack the game how we want it, probably how the coaches viewed it and saw it working out. It's definitely tough not being able to, really see what it could be.
You've kind of referred to it a few times, but how much did injuries really limit you after the break, and how differently did you feel physically compared to before the break?
After I felt, after I think I played 4 games after the break before getting hurt in Philly, then coming back and having to come off the bench. Once I came back from injury, I felt good. Obviously having to adjust to a different role, different usage and things like that. I think also played a part in it, but accepting my role and just trying to go out there and play the best brand of basketball that I could. Given the circumstances, and then going into that that Cleveland miniseries was tough because coming out of that, I get sick and then I miss another 5 games. It's tough, and then I come back and there's only 3 games left in the season, and now you're trying to 5 games left in the season, and then you're trying to figure out how to get back, how to get your wind and everything, because you're dealing with respiratory and I can't breathe, running up there coughing and whatever. But just still trying to go out there and play basketball the best way I could.
Or what are the next few weeks like for you and your ideas of whether you return here, and what has been said to you in conversation about the possibility of that? Do you feel it's going that direction? Is it something that's going to play out in the next few weeks that you're not sure of yet?
I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to my agent. I know my agent's going to talk to Pat and the front office and figure those things out. I have no idea. So I'll connect with my agent sometime next week and figure out how those conversations went. And then we'll start the game plan from there, what free agency looks like and what the next couple weeks looks like for me. But right now it's just decompressing, relaxing, getting some time to spend with my family, and then getting right back into it sometime at the end of next week or the beginning of the week after that because I have some other stuff I got to take care of with the national team and things like that for qualifiers. So won't be too much time off before I start getting back on the court and working. I'm not a guy that can sit still for too long. So I feel like I'll be back doing some type of workouts or something by next week.
Norm, you said earlier that you wanted to be back here next year. Do you still, as the season ends now and the role changing a little bit at the end of the year, is that still something that you want if the details can be worked out with the front office?
I think it's all about how everything is worked out. You know, you can want things and stuff like that, but it's all about what makes the most sense. You know, I enjoyed my time here in Miami. I've always wanted to play for the Heat. I thought it was a good year for me in spite of like the injuries and some of the setbacks and stuff like that. But I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed the staff and my teammates and everything that came along with the season. I thought we had a great time, like off the court, really bonding and being able to joke around and things like that. And that's the most important part about the season is the bonds and stuff that you make. Every season there's only one champion, so it's all about the memories and things that you make and the ups and downs and going through it. And I thought we had a great team that stuck together and enjoyed the ups and downs and just bonding on and off the court.
Norm, a couple minutes ago, you talked about commitments to the national team and all that this summer. How excited are you for that? How fully? I assume you're going to play as much as you can. I would think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm fully committed. I mean, I was the only NBA guy playing last year and trying to help them qualify for the first time. So I'm fully invested into the Jamaica national team. Everything I do for the national team is to help lay a solid foundation for the players coming up after me. And I think what we were able to accomplish last summer really put Jamaica on the map, and you start seeing like all the guys with some type of heritage talking about it throughout the season, about wanting to take part and be a part of it. So hopefully we can figure out how we can make that happen. And we'll see Jamaica start to really climb the ranks, and guys will want to be a part of it and continue to help grow basketball in Jamaica.
Kind of to follow up on that, and I know you want to make it better for the guys that are going to come after you, but you know the reality with smaller federations, the funding's always an issue, travel, figuring everything out kind of on the fly. How can you help in that regard and just bring in a really professional approach to something that's sometimes kind of like really up in the air until the last minute with a lot of federations?
Yeah, for sure. I experienced that a little bit, trying to get a team together who's going to be playing in that first tournament that we had, where training camp was going to be at, and not knowing where, for a period of time when I committed to the team, I thought it was going to be down in Jamaica, and then we do training camp in Boca, things like that. But I think since then, me committing, I think brought light there and was able to get some funding. And it's all about campaigning and fundraising and getting more eyes and more people involved. Like I said, you have so many different guys now talking about wanting to be a part and want to play for the national team. I think that will help. And then just individually committing and donating and helping and trying to make those trips and helping them plan easier, from my experience and how it goes and what we do in the NBA, and so they can have an idea of how to set up and what to prepare for, what's to be expected with the travel and the hotels and just the transportation and things like that, because they not really knowing and learning and asking me a bunch of these different questions. So it's definitely cool to be a part of that. And I just think the more people that are involved, the more players that are involved, the more people are going to want to rally behind it, because we bring different groups from all over. We have a lot of different support staff from where we grew up, how we play, different fans, different sponsorships, different partnerships that we bring, because we're as players, we're our own brand, and we're doing different things off the floor. And when you do deals with these brands and make these partnerships, you talk about what you do off the court, and wanting them to be able to take part, whether that's donating, items, to help the program, or whether that's donating money to help the program. So for me personally, I always try to partner with people that are going to be a part of what I do off the court, and help boost and grow in that aspect. So I think the more guys in the NBA that join that can have that same mindset, and I think it'll help expedite the process to bring up and fund the national team. Thank you.
I mean, obviously, with the season end at this point, I know you mentioned, the think it was the last game of the season. You don't want the season to end. Now that it is, just thoughts about the season overall. When went right for you guys? When went wrong?
Man, I think we had a lot of good moments, a lot of not so good moments. I thought offensively we were able to do a lot of amazing things, which was a major improvement from last year. Really got in the lab, created something new, organic that really worked for us. Defensively, we also had our moments. We were really good, but we just couldn't put it together enough times where we needed it. And, we let some important games get away from us that led us in the position that we were in, to obviously be in the playing game. It's not where we wanted to be as a team, but, it's kind of the bed we laid for ourselves, or we made for ourselves, and, deal with the consequences.
I mean, I think we all saw how the new offense benefited you, but don't also want to just give the offense all the credit for what you did this season. What did the offense help you with, but also what do you feel like just you brought to the table in terms of your improvement from last season?
I think I was just able to get in the paint, really put pressure on defenses, make the right reads. I thought the flow and the movement helped a lot with that. It's really easy to make passes when guys are moving for you and getting into open spaces. And I think that was the key to this offense, is the movement. And so for me, it made reads a lot easier. It made the space a lot more open, so I could be able to get in and do what I do. We put up a lot of points, and it ended up working up great. The fast break aspect of our game as well was extremely crucial. That's why we're able to put up a lot of points this year.
Spo and your teammates spent a good part of the last few months saying that you should be the sixth man of the year in the NBA. Now that the season's over and you can kind of reflect, I mean, do you think you should be the sixth man of the year? Do you think you had the season worthy of that award?
I don't know. I think, I leave that up to the voters, whoever votes. It's like a, I guess, voting award. I appreciate my teammates and my coaches for always, supporting me through this year, giving me a lot of confidence to be able to go out and play my game. But for the most part, I'll leave that to the voters. I got, 70 whatever games, to show, my game.
Jaime, when you were, I think, up here last year, you were coming off a season that you weren't maybe as happy with after your rookie year. But now that you have accomplished what you did, a lot of the things you set out to accomplish this year individually, how much more confident do you feel as a player going forward? You're standing in this league and kind of where you can go with other things that you can work on this offseason.
Yeah, I feel a lot more confident. I feel like I really belong in this league. I think this year kind of solidified that for at least myself, knowing that I can really do this. And going forward, continue to stay ambitious, continue to, strive for more, continue to improve, continue to help this team win games. I think ultimately that's what I'm looking for. I had a, so-and-so great year, but it didn't translate to the wins that we were all hoping for. So, this summer it's going to be me looking for a way to correlate that to winning a lot more basketball games.
To go off of that, I think you said during training camp how one of the key to go into this season was getting a mental coach.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that and how that really helped you? Obviously, you had a great year this year.
Yeah, I was working with a mental coach, just being able to, I guess, prioritize the right things during the year. And he helped me get rid of a lot of the clutter that was in my head, worrying about things that you probably shouldn't worry about, and only focus on what you can control. And that was a huge help this year. Sorry. I thought I had a sneeze. He was a huge help, and yeah, much thanks to him.
Jaime, you know what it means to have a bit of a down year, but then come back from it. What would you tell guys like Nico and Kel'el who had their fair share of struggles this past year and to bounce back for next?
I mean, I would just tell them to continue to stay in the lab. They're obviously great basketball players. What I've learned in this league is that 80% of it is probably mental more than it is physical and skill. You just got to have a great mental strength about you. It's 82 games. It's long. There's going to be ups and downs. But as long as you're mentally still here and available, a lot of things can go right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bam, a two-part question that I figure is coming. One, we just want an update on how are you feeling after leaving with the back injury, and two, your thoughts on what LaMelo did and how the officials handled it and how the NBA handled it after the fact.
Obviously, I'm still walking, so I'm okay. But I think the officials handled it, I guess, by the rule book. I feel like it'll be a change at some point because it doesn't make sense that three or four plays can go by and you can review a three-point shot, but you can't review a hostile act. And I think I think LaMelo is just going to, see it as another game. He makes, 30 M's a year. The 60 he's not even going to see. But it's one of those things everybody's going to have their opinion on it. Nobody's really going to know the truth but LaMelo, if it was dirty or not, obviously. Everybody's going to try to defend him or defend me. So it's really him. And, we move on at this point.
Weirdly, this is the second time in almost the exact same spot of the court, different courts because the one happened here. But is there history, something, or is this just two weird coincidences that in that spot on the floor you guys have been tangled by him grabbing at you a couple times?
I don't know. I've always had great conversations with him. It's never been any bad blood between us. So, obviously I was drafted in the same draft class as his brother. So it's always been good conversations. As far as those incidents, like I said, I can't tell you what goes through his mind. My thing is, like I said, with the referees and the NBA, I feel like you should be able to review a hostile act no matter how long the possession has went by.
LaMelo said after the game that he was going to try to touch base with you and apologize. Did that conversation happen, and what did he kind of say to you?
It didn't happen. By that time, I was in the shower trying to figure out what I was going to do next. Just obviously everything happened all at once. And I wanted to be out there. So, at some point I'll see him again. We'll have that conversation and we move on.
Bam, you have said many times this year that you were sick of being in the play-in. I know you tried to drive your team past that this year, obviously, and to get to the playoffs. Do you think that this team, as the captain, currently has enough as it stands? Is internal improvement enough to get you where you need to go, or do changes need to be made this offseason?
That is not a question for me. That is a question for Spo and Pat Riley. Obviously, the organization evaluates if we need to make changes or not. Seeing as we missed the playoffs, probably will be changes. So, my thing is just being prepared to have that conversation. Is there are changes?
Ma'am, obviously Kel'el in his second season here, and Spo was kind of talking about how he's maybe a little more comfortable playing you guys, moving forward, especially together. Just your thoughts on his season, tumultuous or not, up and down, but just the thoughts on you two playing together.
I feel like he can be great. Like I said, I feel like Kel'el is a lot more comfortable when I'm out there, just because somebody's actively always talking to him. And that might be aggravating, but, that was D-Wade when I was a rookie. When I was a second-year player, he used to piss me off all the time because he used to always talk to me. Him and UD, one was in the game aggravating me, and then I would come to the bench, and then it's UD getting on my nerves. But you need that if you want to
if you want to tap into your ceiling, if you want to get to where places you don't think you can get, you need those conversations. You need those build-ups. You need those honest conversations where people are going to tell you that you're wrong. And it's helped me, so my job is to help him.
Bam, you've always said that being a captain, it's its own unique challenge. What was something?
It sucks.
Yeah, you've said
There you
that,
go.
yes.
There you go.
But, what are some of the things that you learned this season? Even Davion was saying something about bringing the guys kind of more together to continue to connect too.
This year, it's, I try to go back to the college style. How you see when, like, it's a free throw, it's a dead ball, they always huddle up. And that just shows togetherness. Even if you don't really say anything in the huddle, it just shows you have a connection with one another that, like I said, even if you don't say anything, it's still the visual of y'all look like a together team.
Ma'am, you said earlier that, other people make those decisions at what needs to change, but it's very easy for a player, especially with your stature and success, being the captain, all those things, to get frustrated at the last few years, the inconsistency, not getting out of the play, and all those things. How do you avoid that frustration? How do you voice that frustration if there is some?
You see how our last 4 years have been. You can go in there and voice that because everybody in this building knows I want to win. I put on that jersey almost every game through hell and high water just because, I want to win. I want to put us in a position to win. And, when you don't win, I always put it on myself. And that's me going in the summer trying to be better, trying to figure out how I can take my game to the next level, how I can be a better captain. And then, the business side is not my side. To me, being able to share my opinion is more important because that means you have somebody actively listening to you. And for them to listen is me telling them I want to win, and that's bottom line.
From the what's going on department, what was your reaction to a certain acronym getting printed in a press release yesterday and that deal getting done?
About time. They've been fighting for this for a long time, so for them to have that opportunity to obviously get Supermax and it has the M at the end, you see how much the game is growing. You see how much their game is growing, how much attention it is or surrounded about that game. How much attention it is surrounded by that person, to where they move the needle that much to where those contracts look like that, and I'm happy it's only going up from there.
Bam, on one hand, this offense this year produced 83, but on the other hand, it changed a lot of things for you in terms of your shot quality, where everything was coming from, your entire profile. What was your experience like navigating all these offensive changes, what you had to sacrifice maybe, and then going forward, if this offense remains in place, are there more adjustments that maybe you need to make?
It's new for everybody. So obviously I had certain times where I was frustrated because I felt like didn't need to shoot all these threes. But, coach is trying to make the offense. It was like, if you're open shooting, and it's like, I don't want this to be my first 3 shots though. And sometimes you just got to take what the game gives you. And, to have that type of free-flowing offense is going to be nice where you don't make shots. It is what it is. But it's for me to obviously grow, get more efficient because I shot like shit a lot. Most of the games just because I was taking what the defense gave me. But this summer, if we do have the same offense, who knows? He might switch up something else. Having opportunity to get more efficient in those spots where I feel like I not take a step back, but just get more efficient in.
To that point, you were talking about every offseason, you're kind of looking to improve yourself. You just talked about the efficiency. I guess, what does an offseason for you look like at this stage, at this point in your career? Is it kind of the same type of offseason working on your game, just different parts? Just I guess what does it look like for you in terms of your training?
Well, this summer it starts with rehab. Get my body healthy. And this is the first time, actually, which is crazy. I start with rehab. But it changes and it doesn't. You know, I feel like it's some things that you have go-to moves and you have go-to places where it's like, all right, I know for sure I can get here and I'll live with the result. And there's other aspects of it where you really need to improve on. So yeah and no. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. I don't know how to really give you a definitive answer.
I know at this point it doesn't matter, but was this injury one that you think would have kept you out for multiple games, maybe even some of the playoffs?
Nah. I would probably too. I'm a person, I do not like needles, and everybody on the training staff knows that. But I would have took a couple. Already did, but yeah, I would have took a couple more to keep playing for sure.
Last question.
Bam, Jaime was in here earlier talking about the mental aspect of having a down year but coming back up the following. You know, Kel'el and Nico had their fair share of struggles this year. What would you advise to them to keep their heads up through as the offseason now unravels?
You get another opportunity to get better. You get another chance to change the narrative around your name. You know, obviously, you can't really hide from the noise. You know, because this world is now based a lot off social media and being on your phones and having all that attention. So it's really just changing the narrative around your name. You get an opportunity to obviously get in the lab, get a real good summer of just working on yourself. And, you know, you want to have that bounce back moment. You want everybody to change that narrative about you. And that should drive you in the summer. You know, hearing all the negative comments and, you know, people try to put you in whatever trade may be. But having the opportunity to obviously work on your game is the biggest aspect.
Thank you, Ben.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I got it.
Simone, obviously with the end of the season ending in a disappointing way, maybe there's some decisions that you're going to make that obviously that doesn't have to do with stuff on the court, but just what was it like just being in Miami for the season, and maybe is there a motivation of obviously wanting to come back?
Yeah, obviously, you know, not the end everybody wanted. It's a tough way to end the season like this, but all I can say is that I love all my time here. You know, I really enjoyed it, and from day one, everybody welcomed me with open arms, open hands, and I just felt like a Heat player from day one. Definitely, you know, try to embrace the culture, my teammates, everyone, and it's definitely a fun year. You know, through the highs and lows, to the up and downs of a regular NBA season, but I loved it, honestly. Like, and you know, you never know how these things gonna work out, NBA businesses. But you know, if there is a chance to come back here, I definitely love to. Absolutely.
As you're aware, player development is a big part of what they do here. I'm curious, in just one season, how do you think you've developed as a player? What do you think you've gotten better at here?
You know, it's hard to say, but my NBA career, I always try to find my role wherever I go, and I think my role this year was like to be that veteran guy. Always got to be ready whenever his name is called, and I try to be that, and it's not easy, be ready all the time, mentally, physically, be on point, in condition. So that's one thing I got really worked on to be ready for those opportunities, and I think I got a lot better at that from the beginning of the season, also from last year. I had a different role, but there's always something that I wanted to be better at, and it's this type of role, and I think I really got better at it. And it's not something like skill-wise or whatever, like shooting, ball handling, all that stuff, but it's something that requires a mental preparation too, that I've always thought I was missing that, but this year I really thought that I got better at it.
Any other questions?
I know there's a qualifying window in July. Have you given any thought to, do you plan on being part of it, or?
Honestly, yes, I thought about it, and me being free agent this summer doesn't really help with the timing and all that stuff, so I probably won't do that. Definitely want to play for a national team. I know there is another window in late August, and I'm definitely planning on doing that and play for them, because it's always special for me playing for the national team. But this summer, I think it's very important for me, being the first time free agent, unrestricted, all that stuff. And I gotta take care of my body too. I have a foot thing that I've been dealing with basically the whole year, so I just wanna take some time and start working again, and hopefully for the window in August I'll be ready.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Well, obviously, this was a step up year for you. I know it didn't end the way that the team wanted, but just your season as a whole, what did you think about it? What were the positives from it? What did you kind of improve?
Yeah, I'm happy with how I performed and play this year compared to last. Definitely step up in my development, and I think just getting more minutes and being on the court more and having more familiarity with everyone around here just made me comfortable to play the way I did. And I think offensively I got trusted more with our new offense, and that was great, and I think it resulted in a lot of good things for me.
Spo was in here earlier commenting that you kind of became that ultimate glue guy for the team, but even as much as you called yourself a role player over the years, is there a next step with what you built this season? What's the next level for you in terms of your game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I definitely have more to build on, and I think I don't really see the whole season as one chapter. Is kind of like gradually changing throughout the season too. Like my first season, I didn't play at all at the beginning, and by the end, I really started to get into some type of flow. And similar to this one, I was hurt a little bit and didn't play, and then got to play more and more. And I think how I viewed my game at the end of the season was a lot different how I viewed it in the beginning. So I think it's just going to gradually keep growing that way.
On that same note, I guess when you go into this offseason, work on some things to improve, do you see, I guess, a little bit more of the on-ball stuff that kind of jumped this year from your first year? Kind of how do you see that maybe taking another step where the on-ball reps are kind of continue gradually to improve?
Yeah, I think my game will always involve a lot of closeout situations, playing alongside with other great players and taking advantage of the little things that they create. So kick out, shot. I want my shot to feel more comfortable and get better. And I want to shoot more threes as well going into the next season. And then, yeah, taking those closeouts, but then also, like you said, maybe starting with initiating offense a little bit more. I mean, I saw Jaime do it all year with that second unit really well and getting to the paint and working on his playmaking. So, starting with the ball off the dribble is something I'm going to be working on as well as my shot.
Pelle, one thing a lot of fans noticed this year is that you got hit in the face a lot. Is that a European thing, or is that just a you thing, the way that you play?
I wasn't aware if it was a European thing, but it's always been a me thing. My whole life, I've been getting hit in the face, so I don't know what it is. The ref tells me it's my fault. I've been trying to work on my posture to get my face out of there, but still no luck, so I'll let you know.
All right, Pelle, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good summer.
Yeah, did we talk last summer about kind of the building steps within the development program here and what your role could be, the minutes you could earn? How did you feel about the performance in the role that you were given? And was it difficult to navigate at all with a lot of those minutes coming as kind of as a center as well?
I try to humble myself with being available and ready for any opportunity that's given my way. So I feel like I did a great job of just trying to stay present whenever I got that opportunity, whether it's coming in at the 5, 4, or 3, whatever it is, just trying to come in and impact the game and make my presence felt. So, of course, being a basketball player, you want to be out there, be on the court as much as possible. But I'm grateful to just be here, be an NBA player, and be able to contribute to wins. Being able to have my teammates back when teammates go down and everything, so I can step up and just showing everybody that I am an NBA player. I feel like I did a good job of doing that with the given opportunity that I had this year.
Keisha, I'm just curious, are there any maybe plans to participate in the summer league?
Probably not, but if that's what the coaches and the front office have for me, I'm willing to do it with great spirits as well.
I'm just curious because we haven't talked about it in a while, but since All-Star Weekend, have things changed for you at all in terms of the perception, your reception with fans or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot more people that know my name, that know what I'm capable of, and that, kind of know a version of who I am if they didn't before. So I hang my head humbly on that as well, just being like having a name for myself, having people like recognize me a little more, and me being able to use my platform as well too, just to spread positivity all around. So I got a bigger name for myself to do that.
KJ, you were such an energy guy for the team this year. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or is that something that you've had to work really hard on? And how much do you plan on taking that as you move forward next year?
I think that's just my personality. Thank you for pointing that out, too. I think that's just my personality. That's who I am. I take pride in that. Why not? Why not be positive? Why not be energetic? It's a lot of people out there that go through different things in life that wish to be in this position. So I'm grateful for that, and I try to show that each and every day with putting a smile on my face and making sure I don't bring no baggage, no negative baggage on me.
KJ, I don't even know if NBA guys are technically allowed to be part of it, but Shaq announced a few weeks ago that he's going to do that World Champion Dunker League, I guess, kind of build off that show last year. Have you been approached by that at all? And is that something that would interest you to go into like a dunk league situation?
Yeah. First of all, the idea of having a dunk league is perfect. You know, that's innovative. I have been approached about it, but like you said, I don't really know the logistics of everything with that. Me being an NBA player as well, but like, I will for sure like to be a part of it, even if I can't like be a participant, just to be there and be around it. You know, because like, truth be told, like the best dunkers aren't professional NBA players. Like the best dunkers are guys that really are professional dunkers and that use it as an art. So that's really where it's at in terms of like dunk contest people and stuff like that. So I could go out there and learn from them just by being there. You know, I feel like they take that to a whole different level.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
Coach was telling us you might be the nicest guy in the world until you get on the court and in practice and then are as feisty as anyone. Can you sort of just take us through what this rookie ride has been for you? How much have you learned and how ready do you feel for the next step?
Yeah, it's been fun. It was a lot of learning. And, that's what I wanted to do, learn as much as possible, and still keep learning now, keep growing, try to listen as much as possible for the coaches, the players, and just try to take it all in. And yeah, just learning and growing. I think that was the key, and that is the key for me.
Cass, we talked about this a couple times this year, but you, for most of your life before this, you played a lot of pick and roll, and you come in and all of a sudden they're running an offense without much pick and roll. How did you feel you kind of adjusted to this system? And then if this offense is the same or similar next year, are there things that you feel like you need to improve within it if that's the direction?
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty adaptable on the court. I can, try to implement other things. But, yeah, it was a little bit of adjustment for sure to play different kind of basketball. But like I said, I try to do, the best I can in any situation and just work on the things I need to work on, especially this summer, and get better.
Cass, we've seen your ability to play on the ball and play off the ball. Which do you enjoy more? Which are you better at, do you think?
Like I said, I'm adaptable, and whatever coach needs from me, I'll do it. Whatever situation I put on, I'll do my best in that, and I'll just give 100%.
And with each of those areas, if you wouldn't mind talking about when you're on the ball, areas you think you have to get better at, when you're off the ball, areas you think you have to get better at, if you wouldn't mind addressing each of those separately.
Yeah, so I would say, like, kind of in general too, just get stronger, in the weight room, and then on the ball and off the ball, just working on my handles, try to get tight in my handles, get into the paint, play off 2 feet. Try to make the right reads from there, get some more paint touches for sure. And off the ball is just about spacing, shooting, and running basically.
Just how much pride did you take on the defensive side of the ball this year and kind of your overall performance? Maybe learning from guys like Davion and Dru, just how much confidence, I guess, do you get coming off a rookie year when you're able to kind of put out that type of defensive performance?
Yeah, so it was one of my main focuses, starting in the summer league. Just try to, play defense as hard as I can, try to get better in that. And like you said, learning from Davion and Dru helps me a lot. They give me a lot of advices, and just seeing them in practices, in games, I think helps. And, I still have a lot to learn, but I'm happy and I'm grateful to have these guys around to learn from.
Cass, you often get comparisons to Goran Dragic, obviously a guy who's meant so much to this organization. Just what does it mean to you to get those comparisons? What are your thoughts on, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot for sure. I used to watch him a little bit when I was younger too. So even in Slovenian national team and here, so it means a lot. And when I met him for the first time, he gave me a lot of advices too. So he helped me to start this season, start getting better, and I'm just grateful for that.
It's not always easy for people to adjust to the deeper three-point line, but you obviously shot the ball incredibly well. Did you exceed maybe expectations, or did you have expectations for yourself on how well you would shoot, and why do you think you took to the NBA line so well?
I don't know, I would say just work that I put in the summer. There was a lot of focus on that, on shooting. So I just worked on that, and then little by little I probably gained more confidence and started feeling better and better on the three-point line.
Now that you've had a little time to reflect on your rookie season, what is maybe one of your favorite moments, either on or off the court?
I would say just like meeting everybody. My first year, seeing the real basketball and meeting the people, coaches, players, probably was the most fun.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Nico, obviously a rough season pretty much with the injuries and then the performances. Can you just overall, now that the season's over, how do you reflect on this year?
Oh, I mean, it was not easy, especially with the injuries. I feel like that was a big part this year where I was a lot off the court this year, and sometimes you're just not lucky with that. On the other part, with my playing time and everything, it was a lot of ups and downs this year. I think I really thought it was going to be different when other things started, but things happen, and I just got to be better.
Nico, I think preseason at the beginning of the year, it looked like this offense was going to be really good for you, but what happened throughout the season? What were the difficult adjustments? And then if the system is the same next year, how do you feel like you need to adjust in the offseason?
I mean, I thought this offense was going to be good for me too. I think the part that kind of didn't help me is the fact that my playing time was so inconsistent. I think I started the first game of the year. After that, I came off the bench. After about a few games, my minutes just went down and down more, and I just couldn't find a rhythm. I think this is not a hard offense to play because there's almost no rules, if I can say it like that, where you don't have screens that you got to make and stuff like that. So I think it's an offense that everybody can play. And after that stuff, I think I played a lot more the 5 this year than anything else. So there was a lot of little things that kind of didn't help me to catch that rhythm that I felt like I needed at one point. And I think that's the only thing. If we keep this offense and that was working for us this year, I think I can help for sure. It just I gotta find a way where some stuff can be consistent, and I can on a nightly basis help this team win.
On that same note, whether the offense is the same or not, I guess heading into this offseason, working on your game, do you see it being more of the off-the-catch shot stuff or kind of the on-ball stuff that we've seen in the past? I guess you want to improve your all-around game every offseason, but I guess what's going to get the majority of the attention?
I think off the ball, I just gotta make sure my shot is ready every time. I think last year, the last 2 years I had a good percentage, but especially because I kind of knew which shots I was gonna have. This year with the offense we play, you just gotta be ready at every moment, and I gotta be ready for that and more for catch and goes. We don't use post-ups as much, so I guess I'll not have to work on that anymore. And I just have to change my workouts a little bit. I think that's something where I got to change my whole gameplay, but I gotta be ready for everything, And I guess I gotta be ready for playing the 5 again, where I have to be ready to pop and I guess shoot that stuff, every time. I'll make sure I work on a lot of stuff that I didn't thought I would need.
Nico, you have a teammate obviously in Jaime who had a rough second season and went into the offseason, came back and had a really good bounce back year this year. Do you look at that as an example of how what an offseason could do for you, just to kind of reset and maybe come back fresh?
I mean, I would say I look at more at Duncan. I think Duncan is someone who already told me about this and went through similar stuff where you at one point you feel like you're good enough for the team you help, and then all of a sudden you're at the end of the bench and you feel like you're never gonna see the floor again, and it's so ups and downs. Like it's just the way the Heat is, I guess. It's just you got to be good on every night for them to continue playing you. And like I said, in minutes I have, I got to be perfect to get that. Get consistent minutes, and if I don't, I'm just gonna be at the end of the bench, I guess.
All right, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Nico. Thank you. often asked, so I'll ask one last time. The pairing with Bam at times was uneven, at times was really good, and Bam, I guess whose vote counts probably more than anyone, says he would like to move forward with it. Can you just take us through the season of how it worked out when you were in and out, and where you feel you and Bam stood as a pairing at the end of the season?
I mean, just like anything, it takes time, take reps. So I feel like if we got more reps at that, then I feel like it would have progressed more. But like I said, it's gonna take reps. So I mean, obviously, I would hope to continue that.
Like quite a few guys on the team, you were navigating an entirely new offensive system this year. You're navigating a role that could change game to game sometimes. Throughout all that, where do you think you took your steps forward? And then going into next year, where do you see yourself you want to improve the most?
I would say, definitely being more in the post a little bit, improving there, improving defensively, even more, and working on that plus minus.
Bam was kind of talking about the relationship that you two have on the court and maybe the harshness of it. Again, talked about how D Wade was the same with him and you D obviously. Can you talk about having a person like that next to you that just maybe could frustrate you on the court, but would still, he just wants the best for you?
Who are you talking about again?
Bam.
Oh, Bam. I mean, yeah, Bam is. I feel like I would say that Bam is a great mentor. Like I said, he's been through, everything that I've been through. Been through, in the ringer with Spo, just dealing with Spo. So, just talking to me through that. It's also, with Spo as well. Just, me and Spo getting a better relationship with that and talking, which, it was like that during the year. So, just getting more of an understanding of each other. So.
More questions?
With the line about plus minus was funny. Spo obviously looks at that as a lot of coaches do. How much of that is within your control? Because obviously you're on the court with 4 other guys. I'm sure you've given that some thought.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's like a 50-50. I mean, cause I can't control, the threes that the other team hit, but I can control, what comes in the paint. So I would say it's more of a 50-50 thing about the plus minus.
All right, well, thanks, sir.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Dru, you've obviously spoken about it before, but coming off those season-ending injuries, having a season like now where you played some good minutes and productive on the bench and stuff like that, just reflecting on the season as a whole, just how, even though the result obviously at the end for the team wasn't great, just for you individually, how would you reflect on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was happy to just be healthy most of the year. Obviously, this little toe thing popped up at the end, just poor timing, nothing really serious, just bad timing. So. I was happy to just be healthy, like you said, to be able to, have some good stretches there off the bench. And, just looking forward to having a summer where I can be more focused on basketball than rehab. So, wish we weren't done this early, but other than that, like you said, just looking back, definitely happy that I was healthy and able to contribute.
I mean, you alluded to it just there, but just having an off season now, where assuming this thing clears up pretty quickly, you can have a real off season to work on your game. What do you want to use, the coming months for?
Yeah, I think obviously you're going to work on a little bit of everything. Specifically, just obviously want to shoot the ball more consistently. Just things like that. Shoot the ball more consistently, maybe with a little bit deeper range, a little bit quicker also. Just, different things that are going to help me on the offensive end. And then also, just continue to get better, making the right plays, making the right reads. But yeah, just like I said, having a summer of just basketball and, not trying to make sure I can make it back to training camp. So I think I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I'm good. Sorry.
Drew, I think everyone in the building.
All good, Ira.
I know, Ira. I can't believe that.
It's all right.
Everyone in the building respects your basketball IQ so much. So I'm wondering if we can go back to like maybe the beginning of the season when Spo was talking to you about this new offense. I mean, it's such a drastic change to how the Miami team plays and what you initially thought about it. And then as the season kind of went on, your thoughts of it.
Yeah, I think initially it was, like you said, such a big change that, like, you're so used to playing basketball kind of how it has been the last, however many years, pick and rolls, and that sort of thing. And so it was definitely something I think, most of us kind of took a step back and were like, how is this going to work? What's it going to look like? But especially there early in the season, I think we kind of could see the vision that he had for it, and just kind of where, we all kind of started to believe in where he had seen and thought that it could go. So I don't see us really going too far away from it. I think, our offense was a lot more explosive this year than it had been in the past. And so I think just continuing to buy in, continuing to get everybody, you kind of can change your player development a little bit also to fit a little bit more of what we're doing. So I think we'll just continue to work towards it. We weren't perfect, and we still, obviously, there are a lot of things that we can still work on to be better, which is, it's good to think of because I think our offense was pretty solid throughout the year.
Thanks, guys.